you do the invocation?
Yes, dear most gracious Heavenly Father, we come to you today. We just ask you for your blessings and your guidance on our meetings, and that we take care of the business of our people, dear Lord. Just keep us safe, keep the shield around our people, and just be with the ones that are taking the vaccination today. And we just thank you for the leadership of our tribe, dear Lord. Guide and lead us in these holidays and keep us safe. Bless this meeting. In Jesus' name we pray. Amen.
Roll call, Shelley.
Yes, ma'am. Denise Taylor.
Here.
Doug here.
Denise.
Steve Osgood. Kelly Buzzard.
Here.
Joe Bird.
Honey?
Julia Coates.
Here.
John Goodman.
Here.
Mike Dobbin.
Here.
Shannon Dutton. Rex Jordan.
Here.
Darrell Lake. Wes Belfar.
Fine.
Dorothy Stafford. Here. Mike Shambaugh.
Here.
Mary Bakershaw. Leo Smith.
Here.
Victoria Duckworth.
They just didn't have no energy.
Okay, you all have a copy of the minutes. I would entertain a motion for their approval.
So moved.
Second.
Got a motion and a second to approve last month's minutes. All those in favor? Any opposition? Brings us down to reports, and I see Chuck Garrett, bright-eyed and bushy-tailed up there. Chuck, you're up.
All right, thank you, Chairman. Appreciate that, and thanks for the opportunity to give the report today. On our Cherokee Nation Entertainment, our gaming and hospitality division continues to head in the right direction, although underperforming, of course, what we expected this time last year. But we continue to refine the responsible hospitality protocols and operational strategies, and we're heading in the right direction. I'm proud to report. We do have some constraint with our food and beverage that we've recently re-implemented and closing them at 11 o'clock. Preparing for New Year's Eve. It's going to be a different New Year's Eve, of course. One that we want to have fun and entertain our patrons, but be responsible in doing so. So, unlike years past where we have large private gatherings, large parties that we invite the public to, lots of food and beverage, we'll be revising that so that there will be no private parties. There won't be the big gatherings in some of our spaces. Keep everybody healthy through this period until hopefully the vaccines kick in. With respect to Cherokee Federal, continuing on a outstanding path there, exceeding budget, exceeding financial expectations, working hard to get through this. The business development side has been very, very successful this year. It's been a very different year, of course, selling and working with customers virtually. But we've shown great success and utilized technology to its fullest to do that. So very proud of that team for continuing to perform. Just a couple of other announcements following up on things, items I mentioned last night during council. Just really excited about True by Hilton opening 2 weeks ago. They are going to add a lot to the community and a lot to Cherokee Springs Plaza, as is the Starbucks, which should be open in January. So looking forward to that, creating some synergy and further activity at Cherokee Springs Plaza. Just one final thing. I wanted to give a shout out to WRD for the season this year. Really some record-setting performances there, and they did a terrific job and don't often get the credit that they deserve. So I wanted to give them a shout out as well. So I'm happy to respond to any questions and any topics if there are questions.
Anybody think of anything overnight that they wish they would have asked? Harley, go ahead.
Yes, Chuck, a month or so ago, I'd ask you, I don't know if you've had a chance to look at it or not, but some of the workers at WRD, and these were some Cherokee guys, they said they didn't have any benefits, and they worked 40-plus hours a week there. Now, I think the ones that I talked to are, I'm not sure exactly what they do. It seemed to me like they work saddling the ponies or working the stables and things like that, but they didn't have any insurance, no vacation pay. They only worked by the hours, how I took it. And I didn't know how many was like that, and didn't know if you had a chance to look into that situation or not.
Well, WRD, thanks for the question. WRD is a unique situation in that because it is seasonal, as I just mentioned, we just wrapped up this latest season. We do have a number of part-time employees there, and they have a different set of benefits than our full-time. So it really gets down to, if they're working in the stables, they're most likely a part-time employee. They're working, in the actual casino area, in the cage or on the floor there. They're more likely to be a full-time employee with full benefits. We don't have a group of employees that work full-time that aren't eligible in receiving benefits. We don't have a tiered system like that. If they are a full-time employee, that will be eligible. So I should coordinate with you if there's some names, look into the specific situations. But as a rule, that's the policy and practice.
Okay, thank you.
Yes, sir.
Go ahead, Councilor Notfire.
Hey, Chuck, how are you doing? Just a few days ago, we announced that we were getting a multi-use building, I think partly in use for food security. But the other part was a soundstage. You kind of got the article right here in front of me. Is the soundstage being operated by CMB, or is the whole project operated by CMB, or is it going to be divided between Cherokee Nation and Cherokee Nation businesses?
The soundstage area will be operated by the film office, Cherokee Nation Film Office. And my understanding is that will be used largely for internal communications and communications reaching out to Cherokee citizens. And with respect to the other uses in the building, I believe that will be operated by whatever program ultimately takes that space, whether it's food distribution, for example, or others. So I think it'll be a combination of groups that work there to perform whatever mission they have.
Okay. Do you know how large the space is that we're going to need? Like, how much % of the building is going to be for the sound stage, and how much is going to be for food distribution?
I think it's roughly half, and I'm sorry I don't have the specific percentage, but I think it's roughly half that will be used for sound stage, and the other half for food distribution and other programs.
Okay. And do we know overall budget-wise what we're budgeting for to spend there on that?
Yeah, the budget is somewhere in the $6 or so million, as I understand it. I don't have those figures in front of me, but that's the range that I'm aware of.
Okay, perfect. All right, and I guess this is one of our COVID relief fund efforts, right? To build this soundstage. Okay. All right, appreciate it, Chuck. All right, appreciate it.
Thanks, sir. Appreciate it.
Is there anything else? Okay, Chuck, we'll let you go. See you next month. You and your family have a Merry Christmas. Okay, that brings us to Treasurer Traylon Scott.
Hello, good afternoon.
Hey,
I know there's a time crunch today, so you guys have my report in front of you. But basically, we are over here in finance. We're working very hard, long hours. Thus far, we have not gotten an extension from Congress on the coronavirus relief fund. So as of this moment, we still have this federal deadline of December 30th. That may change this week. They have a couple of proposals that they're working through in Congress. So we should know probably by the end of this week whether or not they're going to give an extension and whether or not there will be additional funding coming our way. So, but until then, we're going to forge ahead as if the deadline is and will remain December 30th, and we're confident that we will have everything wrapped up by then. So at the same time, again, still doing research on some different for McGirt. There's just a lot of data there to go through. Anyway, I'll stop there if there's any questions for me.
I have one question, and it is, and you may have alluded to this with some ongoing discussions, but I'm wondering if we are expecting any funding to come down to help us administer this vaccine that we have received.
Yes, we've already received quite a bit of funding through IHS to our health services, but that is actually also an additional portion in what's proposed in front of Congress right now. And what they did, I think most of you have probably seen the news. It was a $908 billion bipartisan proposal, and yesterday when they released the actual text of the document, they put them into two kind of packages. And it was a $748 billion package that included things such as additional funding for vaccines, additional funding for schools, extending the unemployment benefit, and a lot of that, I'm sure I'm missing a ton of stuff that was in there, but that's what the $748 billion package was. The second package they released was a $160 billion package that was included funding to state, local, and tribal governments. It also includes the extension for what we currently have for the coronavirus relief fund, and it also included the limited liability protection for businesses on COVID. So what they did basically was they peeled out the items that were more hotly contested, so that, in hopes that the $748 billion one will pass easily, and that is where there's additional funding for IHS and healthcare workers and vaccine and everything else. So we expect that one to pass. The question remains on the other one, because that one is more debated between the House and the Senate.
Okay. And my other question was, on your report, you've got 43 travel expense statements in October, and I'm just curious, who's traveling? I mean, I don't mean names, obviously, but I didn't think anybody was traveling right now.
Yeah, those are, they're quite limited, and they're getting special, I guess, permission to do so. I believe that the majority of them are actually healthcare workers who are traveling. So, and it's a kind of a variety of reasons. They have contractual obligations that they have to meet their learning requirements per year, kind of like a CLE or CTE. And then they may be traveling to get additional education on the coronavirus as well. I'm not exactly sure on all the purposes of that, but I do think that the health department is the largest contributor to that 43 number.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. Does anybody go ahead? Fire, Mr. No Fire. I've been working on that a long time.
I like it. First off, Traylon, congratulations on making the a board member position, being nominated to board membership of the Red Cross. That is a awesome thing. It's one of the largest organizations, I think, in the United States. So that's awesome. My book has fallen apart, so I'm trying to go through it. Do we know how much has been expended of the CARES Act money yet that we have? CRF funds?
I'm sorry.
How much how much have we expended of CRF funds up to date? Do you have an idea?
Yeah, approximately 350 to 300. Actually, probably as of today, it's getting closer to 365 million of it.
Do you expect
large earmarks for the other?
Okay. Do you think we'll be able to spend the rest of it by December 30th?
I do.
Okay. Perfect. All right. And then, when would we receive a breakdown where we spent it all? Is that going to come up? I know you guys are super busy. I'm not trying to request anything immediately. I just didn't know. Is this probably going to come up definitely a little bit down the road of where we've all expended it? But do you have an idea when we might be able as council to see where we've spent all those things out?
Yeah, I plan on having a pretty detailed report to y'all in the January meeting. We have mandatory reporting that we have to do for Treasury, U.S. Department of Treasury. We have to submit reporting, and that's due January 11th. Assuming we don't get the extension, we'll have all of it spent, and we'll be able to give a very detailed report on that.
Okay. All right. Appreciate it, Trey. Have a Merry Christmas.
Thank you. You too.
Appreciate it, Chair.
Anybody else? All right, Trey, we'll let you go. Thanks for that report.
Thank you. Have a good day.
Brings us to Diane Kelly.
I hope everybody's having a very nice day today, because I think we're going to get fed sometime today, so I know it's going to be a good day. I just wanted to talk to you a little bit about the report that I submitted for this month. We like to spotlight some of our participants, and I want to brag on our Restore program. It started about the middle of July, and they were supposed to have around 200 participants. And as of last week, they are at 75% capacity. So they're going to meet their 200 mark probably by February. And the Department of Labor was very ecstatic when we had our meeting with them virtually last week. In fact, there was 5 states on the call, and none of those states have even touched the surface. And Shauna knocked them out of the water. And I want to commend all of the people that have been working on that, Tila Sapp, Jackie England, and Lucy Washington, and Shauna and her team. They have done an outstanding job in such a short period of time. Our reentry program, Matt Lamont wanted me to mention this because I know that some of you all have taken an interest in the reentry program. We're going to be rolling out those 3 brand new DOJ grants for reentry. It's the first time we've got that many grants. We got a continuation of another grant, so we actually got 4. And Matt's real excited because this is going to allow him to have his own reentry team and not beg and borrow from the other programs. So he's real excited, and we'll probably give you a more detailed report in January, and then we'll give you a lengthier report in January of all the programs, exactly where they are, and the programs that we got for this year. One of the things that we did recently is that we worked with the administration in helping get the disability checks out to our Cherokee members, and then we've been working with Marcia in the elder program. I got to commend John Crittenton and Lindsay Williams and the TANF staff. They have rolled up their sleeves and have worked 2 weekends to help and assist in that endeavor. And they knocked the disability out in about 3 weeks, 4 weeks. I don't know, but if you see the TANF staff, pat them on the back because they've been putting this along on. And I appreciate their work. Our Tarot staff have been real busy. We didn't have a banquet this year. I know we're talking to you about some of the things that's going on at C&D. Well, we're doing a lot of virtual things. We're doing a lot more taping and getting information out. And we decided that we're still going to give out our Carol Awards, even though we didn't have a banquet. Some of you all should have received tape from us that shows last year's winners. It shows some of y'all at the golf tournament. I believe I saw Joe Deere, the golf tournament. But the tape basically shows winners from last year, and then we showed individual winners this year. And I want to thank Jason McCarty and the film group down in Julie Hubbard's group, and Sandra Hooper and Willard and Larry Vance for all their work on this, because it was a hard task to do because we've never done it. But it worked out real well. We're real proud of the tape. That's pretty much all I have to talk to you about. I've asked Deborah Laxton down here in case there's some questions about the Terra certification. So that's pretty much it, unless you have some questions of me.
I had one question on the, and it's on the 6th page of your report under Tribal Economic Development. And it's about this apprenticeship modules with Oklahoma rural communities around the Cherokee Nation. Can you expand on that a little bit, what exactly we're doing here?
It's on which page?
Number 6.
6 and 7?
Uh-huh.
We have been, we were asked to set up a meeting with our water and sanitation department, and a group out of Oklahoma City, which does apprenticeship, has been meeting with some of the tribes, and we set up a meeting, Michael Lynn in Community Development, Billy Hicks, and it was a virtual meeting. It was the first one that all of us were involved in. And what they're wanting us to do is to look at some of our training slots that we have and develop some apprenticeship initiatives with water and sanitation, because they view water and sanitation as something that the apprenticeship program could go into, where you work under a licensed plumber for so many years. And so we're working on that avenue. Hunter Palmer is taking the lead on that through the economic development.
Okay. I was just kind of curious what that was about. Thank you.
I will be glad to give a more detailed report after we have our next meeting with them after the first of the year.
Okay. Anybody else have questions for Diane? Okay, we're a quiet group today, Diane.
Hey,
oh, yes, sir.
Hey, Diane, can you check when you're dealing with that water and sanitation, if they're going to pay for those D wastewater and water license all the way through the A? Because I know standard for getting with the pipe and stuff, they recommend that you have a minimum of a D. And if you go to a C, then that takes you to another class. But those classes are very expensive, and maybe they can supply that payment.
Be glad to. That might be something that you may want to bring up to Michael or Billy in community resources.
Okay, I'll just call Mike.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Uh-huh.
Thank you, Counselor Taylor.
You betcha. Anybody else? Okay, I think that's it, Diane. Appreciate you. Merry Christmas. Anna?
You have a copy of my report. I would just like to mention that North doesn't help this because of the pandemic, but we are looking at a series of workshops for communities, starting in at the beginning of January, and it'll go through the beginning of March. And the first, the theme of them all will be of building a framework for resilient communities. And the very first one is the nationally renowned author of Strongtown. And that's going to be January 16th. And I will send this out to you all as soon as we finalize the schedule this year. All these workshops will be free because of the pandemic. So if your community members and and towns are interested in attending this year, there will be no cost. So I will give that to you once it's finalized, and I'm happy to answer any questions you might have.
Go ahead, Counselor Best.
Thank you. Hey, and it's Victoria. I like the fact that you have established an artist workstation with internet access from the Cherokee Arts Center. Is it getting some play? Are people using it?
They are. It's, we still have a limited, we're only allowing the treasures to hold classes, so we're encouraged to take advantage of that workstation. We upgraded the internet service to allow people to be able to, provide those online classes in real time. So it is working well. Austin is, doing a good job with the Art Center.
Great. Thank you. Thank you, Chair.
One thing I did want to say, Anna, you've listed just a few of the grants that your team had applied for, and some of them have been awarded. One, it looks like we're still waiting on. And I appreciate that. I don't think a lot of people realize that the departments are tasked with finding these grants, going after these grants, and how much funding we actually get from the grants. So I appreciate an update every now and then on what you've received, what you're going after, that sort of thing. I appreciate that. Okay, anybody else? All right, appreciate you, Anna. Have a Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas.
Okay, we're moving on down to certifications. In the tarot certifications, there were a couple of things that are going to be taken out. One is on page 3, integrated insurance. They are not going to be voted on. They did not return their documents. And then under artists, Rosalind Brown is listed on there, and she has actually passed away, so we're not including those in this vote. So if someone would give me a motion.
Move for approval.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the tarot certifications. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, you got a new community assistance list. Look it over and see if everything is on there that you had requested this month. Go, Kanan.
Jody's running away.
Yeah, where'd Jody go? He left. We got you coming in, didn't Jody?
He's got pies to distribute up there.
When is that veterans deal?
Today, 11 o'clock.
Oh, is that right?
There he is.
Jody.
Sorry, the people already showing up for lunch.
Oh, yeah.
Jody, Counselor Crittenden and I are going to do 2,000 apiece, so 4,000 total to Stillwell Indian Baseball.
I'm gonna change.
Recruiting budget.
Okay.
Counselor Vasquez.
Yes, Jody, I meant to call on this and I forgot to do that. I would like to give $500 neighbors, helping neighbors at Benita.
That's in Benita.
Right, it's
Okay, and I want to add one also for Councilor Shambaugh, $2,000 for Oak Mission High School. Do you have another one?
Madam Chair,
oh, I'm sorry, I'm done.
am I up?
Yes, you're up.
Yes, sir, I have another one. I need $2,500 for Kansas High School. Earmarked for STEM.
Oh, for STEM? Okay.
Yes. Thank you.
Anybody else have any additions? Okay, with those additions, I would entertain a motion.
Make a motion.
Got a motion and a second on the community assistance. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, it doesn't look like we have any new law enforcement. We will skip that one.
I just wanted, Speaker, I'm sorry,
Okay.
Chair, I just want to mention that money, your new money will be coming probably in January or February with the audit numbers, so we'll be getting that pretty soon.
Okay, so let's move on to roads. I'm sure you've looked at your projects.
Motion to be approved.
Thank you. Motion and a second on roads. All those in favor? Aye.
Jody, when those roads run, when we get our new roadsman?
That'll be, the 7,500 is actually for your general fund is in this mod. That was, normally you get that the first year, but this, they missed it during comprehensive budget. You'll get that. And then the, your motor vehicle tax will be coming in January, February also, same time as law enforcement, so.
Okay, it looks like there are 3 new sports teams applications. I need a motion on those.
So moved.
Second.
Motion and a second. All those in favor?
Aye.
No new livestock. Well, did this one on 1029 come in after?
That was
Our
already
meeting?
been approved, so.
Okay, all right, so we can move on from that. Okay, that brings us down to the budget mod. Councilor Austin, would you take the capital mod, please?
Certainly. This is an act amending legislative act 1620, authorizing the comprehensive capital budget for fiscal year 2021, Mod 3, declaring an emergency. I put that in the form of a motion.
Second.
Got a motion and a second on the budget mod, capital mod. All those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that one passes. Brings us down to the operating budget. Who's there? Somebody introduce that, please.
This is an act amending legislative act 17-20, authorizing the comprehensive operating budget for fiscal year 2021, Mod 3, and declaring an emergency. I put that in the form of a motion.
Chair?
Uh-huh.
I did want to mention, Treasurer had contacted me right before the meeting about, there was some confusion on the district court and Supreme Court and some of the position titles and stuff. They've made some of those adjustments and stuff, but with their time constraint and stuff, I mean, I told her if it's okay if you guys will let those changes flow through in the next mod. I mean, it won't, there's not really any substantial changes. It hasn't, it's been going like it is, but that should eliminate some of the confusion on the job titles and stuff. And she said she'd still be on if you had any questions, so.
Okay, I did, Trey, just want you to clarify where this funding is going, what it's actually for, if you would, please.
So this budget mod in large part is due to the changes that we have to make for the McGirt decision and prepare for the McGirt decision. So that there's increases in staffing and resources to the Marshal Service, to the district court, to a new budget called Youth Justice, probably Youth Justice.
Right.
The name just escapes me, I'm sorry, in the AG's office. So I think what brought about the confusion, and in looking at the report, I completely understand why it is a bit confusing, and that's why I had my staff go back and look at it. So the group name, so each department, each area has what we call a group name. So the group name for the courts was actually Supreme Court. And that's confusing because it sounds like it's just one court. So one of the changes I made was I had them change the group name from Supreme Court to Tribal Court, which will make it more clear that both the Supreme Court and the District Court roll up under that group. Additionally, they were calling all of our judges, both in the Supreme Court and the District Court, their technical job title was Justice, which isn't technically correct. Usually at Supreme Court, you have a Supreme Court Justice and a District Court Judge. So we actually had a job title called District Court Judge. And I'm not familiar with the reason why, but I guess a few years ago or maybe longer, they deactivated that job title and they switched all of the judges to have the job title justice. So I've had my staff reactivate that old job title. So next month, when this does officially go through, the judges at the district court level, their job titles will be district court judge. And the Supreme Court will be justices. They will remain justices. That should help clarify when we're talking about the district court versus the Supreme Court. So what this does is, this actually, what you're looking at in front of you is a request to add 3 new judge positions on the district court level. There is no increase to current judge salary. It's in there, they're all in there at the same amount that was approved for the comprehensive budget back in August. So no increases to any current employee's salary. This will just be an increase to the number of judges because we'll have that large increase in caseload.
Okay. Any remaining questions on that budget line?
I have a question.
Go ahead.
When is the last time that we have looked at the salaries of our judges and made changes? Joe, do you remember?
I'm not sure.
I'm not
I
sure
can
either.
look.
Okay. Well, it's probably something that we need to review with the changes coming with our latest ruling, because it's going to be a lot of responsibility. And I know we're going to add people to those areas. So it's something we need to look at down the road, okay? Thank you,
Will do,
Manager.
sir.
Thank you.
Well,
Oh, yeah, I appreciate the clarifying that up, Traylina. The only thing I think we'll need to clarify on the next one, or just maybe, like Speaker suggested, to go back and revisit, there's one still Supreme Court justice that's not the equal pay as the others. I think that's just because it carried over from last year's budget. If that we were going to adjust that, because I think that it was our former Supreme Court or a district court judge that was just part-time. I didn't know if we're going to be adding that adding that part-time judge back up to full-time. I think Sarah Hill might know if we're going to do that in the future.
I actually spoke to Judge Bartow. Now I'm getting confused. Judge Bartow about that. The plan is to keep, right now, to keep one part-time judge. So
Okay.
he's requesting additional full-time judges and an additional part-time judge. The understanding, I think, from his office as well as from mine, that we're just making the best guesstimates that we can based on the information we have, and that may need to become a full-time person at some point in the future. But at this point, the plan is to keep the full-time and the part-time, add the full-time and the part-time.
Right. Perfect. All right. Appreciate the clarification. All right.
are there any other questions regarding the operating budget line? If not, all those in favor?
Aye.
Any opposition? Okay, that passes also. Tentatively scheduled to come back Thursday, January 28th at 3. Does anybody have any announcements since I cut Speaker Burke off in the last meeting?
One announcement that Tara Lee just shared with me. The Veterans is handing out food today, started at 11 o'clock. They've moved it from the Veterans building to the recycling. It should be back here behind the complex. She just gave me that.
Yes, Kenyon Duncan?
I think I'd just be remiss if I didn't make an announcement. Christmas is coming up. I think we got through Thanksgiving pretty good. Let's continue to do that. And if we are going to see family, especially if they're susceptible, let's mask up and do our part.
Good words.
I endorse that. Yeah.
All right, other than that, somebody get us out of here.
I move we adjourn.
Thank you. All those in favor?
Aye.
All right, Merry Christmas, everybody.
I think each one of you.